My name is Jesse Krimes. I'm a conceptual artist. I'm also a formerly incarcerated artist. And this is Voices from the Heartland, a massive immersive experience that encompasses a 3-acre corn maze, a replica of a prison cell, 22 handmade quilts, created in partnership with members from the community, as well as a number of programs and performances, all as a way to catalyze these conversations around the need for criminal justice reform in small cities and rural communities.
Even as we've seen reforms take hold in many big cities, simultaneously we've seen incarceration rising all over the country in rural areas.
Racial disparities are going through the roof. Women's incarceration is going through the roof. Since 1985, the rates of incarceration have increased 460% in Lancaster County, and this is reflective of what's happening in rural communities all across the country. I wanted to figure out a way to engage with this audience, and my first thought process was to find what is a local draw for people in this community.
Well, Jesse called me. I didn't know Jesse. So Jesse calls me, he said, I'm looking for a cornfield. Yeah, I got a cornfield. He said, well, I want to put a jail cell in the middle of the cornfield maze. And I'm thinking, is this guy for real? Well, it really wasn't until we started making the maze that I really got it.
The maze is designed in such a way where it's an easy path to get in, and then once you enter, there are 7 paths to choose from. Only one of them will actually get you out. So if you select any of the other 6 paths that are the wrong paths, you end up coming to 13 different dead ends. And within each dead end, there is a personal narrative of someone who is directly impacted by incarceration here in Pennsylvania. And then that person's story then gets extrapolated into local statistics, state and national statistics.
You feel it. You feel that, metaphor, symbolism of like navigating your way through the system and then back into society. It's like a maze, you know what I'm saying? And especially when you don't have any direction, any help. Some people never make it out, or some people take a long time to navigate through the system.
It's easy for mass incarceration, 2.3 million people behind bars, to feel abstract, for it to feel faceless. And what his work does is remind us all that it is profoundly human.
What's amazing about Jesse's work that has been so important today is how specific it is to the local and statewide issues in Pennsylvania. And I think when people realize how close to home, how what affects them affects other people, how we're connected in this crisis, it drives more people to want change.
Somehow, as a community, we got to grassroots, we got to get the word out. Hey, the system needs help. I guess you could say the system's broken. We need to get it fixed.
As a way to try and engage an audience who wouldn't typically come out to an art exhibition, I partnered with the Art for Justice Fund, the Vera Institute of Justice, and Plus One to develop very robust programming, invite in musical performers and national leaders, and we collectively organized 3 different weekends of performances and discussions. We invited out Piper Kerman to talk about women's incarceration, which is a major issue in rural communities. We invited in Grammy-winning musicians to perform and talk about their own personal experiences, all as a means to get people to come into the space and to share this collective moment together where we can reimagine what safety and justice look like to everyone. Part of the driving force behind what this project is all about is to create this space for us to see each other as just human beings and not an inmate, not a number, not a judge, not a probation officer, but as human beings. And the way that I facilitated that was through artwork. I decided to host a series of 24 workshops designed to bring people from both sides of this issue together. And I asked them, if I say the word safety, what comes to mind? I asked everyone to then go through and select imagery out of newspapers, magazines, things that represented safety to them. And the interesting thing is that no one selected imagery that represented the police or prison systems or jails. And so that was a powerful tool to use that creative process to capture what people conceive as the thing that makes them safe, versus what we spend all of our taxpayer dollars on in the name of safety.
I think, again, right, this notion that it is a public safety system, it is the single largest investment that most counties make in public safety is their jail. That flies in the face of things we know to be true, that incarceration does absolutely nothing to reduce violent crime. And there's a whole range of other things that actually do things like changes in policing strategy, like community-based responses to poverty, to substance use, to mental health problems. And so if you believe that you are making people safer by putting them in prison and jail, well, we have this decades-long experiment with mass incarceration that proves otherwise.
So after I collected all of the imagery from the workshops and the participants, I hand transferred them onto prison bed sheets. And after doing the transfer process, I gave them all to Amish women who then hand quilted all of those 22 quilts into these beautiful quilts that are on display now.